Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 6th day of December, 2024, Friday of the first week of Advent. It is 19 days, 19 days until Christmas Day, 19 days until Christmas Day, here on a very, very, very cold morning here in Carolina, something Carolina is not used to at all. But again, when you're from Western New York, this is a walk in the park. Anyway, but it's about 23 degrees. We had morning prayer inside the Jacoba, our cafeteria today, because it was too cold to be outside for morning prayer. But as you can see, you can't really see it anyway, but we have decked out the courtyard in anticipation of Christmas already. As you can see, both Santa and Gubbio have on their St. Francis and Gubbio have on their Santa hats. So pretty nice, very festive here in our courtyard at the Franciscan School. On this day also it's the optional memorial of St. Nicholas the Bishop, St. Nicholas of Myra. Again, St. Nicholas Day. Hopefully everybody put out shoes last night or whatever it is to see what St. Nicholas might have left you as he was walking by on his way to get things done in preparation for Santa's visit on the 25th. And over here, as you can see, I think this is kindergarten going off to someplace over there. Look at them all bundled up because it's very cold outside. So on this Friday, I think they're going to go and do their wish list because our book fair is here in our library next week. So we're getting all ready to find out what it is that we're going to get at our book fair. So on this Friday of the first week of Advent, we've already almost completed one whole week of Advent. Isaiah again speaks to us again of God's plan. In a little while, God says, Lebanon will be created into a verdant valley, and again, people will be able to find wonders and beauty in this world that God has created. All of these fantastic promises that God holds out, for people who dare to believe, for people who dare to continue to have faith that God can work wonders, that God can do, fantastic things. Again, all of those who have, again, lost their way are brought home. All of those who have been exiled are brought home. All of those who have felt themselves to be outside of standards or communities or whatever it is will finally find a home. This God who is bringing back together what has fallen apart. This wonderful purpose of Advent is to remind us that this is what God is about. Again, not a God who judges, not a God who wants to condemn, not a God who is constantly offended by everything that we do, but a God who wants to make things right. And whether or not we are ready for them, whether or not we want this to happen, it is still happening. And this is, again, because it is what God desires. Too many times, again, we've been raised in a faith where God is, at best, tolerant of us, but not willingly tolerant. God just seems to have to be tolerant because it's expected of God to be tolerant. But that's not the kind of God that we realize if we look at Scripture, especially if we look at Isaiah. It's a God of abundance, a God of extravagant love, a God who wants, again, to make this world into what God intends it to be. If God can't do that, if God cannot desire that, then again, God fails. And the whole point, of Advent and Christmas, basically, and then it ratchets itself up during Lent and Easter, is that God can never fail. And if God can never fail, then there is always hope for us as human beings, that we have, again, a destiny, we have a future, we have a life that is being awaited to fulfill. In the gospel today, again, signs of God's beauty and God's goodness are all part of the gospel proclamations during the season of Advent. And here are two blind men who approach Jesus in Matthew's gospel who want to see. And Matthew heals them. And Jesus heals them in Matthew's gospel because of their faith and their great desire to want to see again. The thing about it is that Jesus basically then says to them, don't tell anybody that this was done. Because again, Jesus doesn't want the special effect to bring people to faith. But yet these two men who were blind and who now see again, run about and tell people everything that has happened to them and how they've regained their sight through Jesus. And again, the thing has to be, well, how could you keep this pent up, this understanding, this thing that has happened to you, that has changed your life, that has transformed your life from one way of being to another way of being? Jesus wants people to be quiet about it and not make a big fuss about it, but we do as human beings. And that's part, again, of the great joy of this season, of not wanting to hold back, of not wanting to keep in, even though, we may be told to do so, not wanting to keep in the wonders that God has done for us, the wonders that God has worked for us. Advent is a season to kind of reflect upon that. What wonders has God has done in our lives? What wonders has God created for us that we need to kind of remember and to praise and to celebrate and to be joyful about? This is what this season asks us to embrace. Very different than penance, very different than looking just at ourselves. It's looking again at this God who does great things in our lives. A blessed Advent, a blessed day, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.